in 5 plate appearances, 3 home runs on the day. And he hits another one. This one's deep. It's way back. It's a 4th homer for Aaron Beatty. A grand slam.
And we say happy good morning to you on a Wednesday, April the 8th. As always, we hope everybody had a great Easter. We are back for another edition of Tigers Roar. Buddy Sanji in the house, Jonathan Poche, my co-host and producer, Marty Campbell, the extraordinary cameraman who gets us in the right places. As folks, you see the sunglasses. No, I don't have any eye ailments at this point, but I do have sunglasses for last night's stinky loss to of course, Bethune-Cookman 10-7. A lot of football scores as of late, but as always, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about spring football. The portal opened yesterday in men's and women's basketball. Of course, the champs have been named. UCLA on the women's side. It's their first women's natty in women's hoops. And, of course, everybody knows that Michigan, certainly the best team down the stretch, prevail over that wacko Danny Hurley and UConn. So, look, all is well that ends well, JP. Good to talk with you. Hope you and the family had a great Easter. LSU takes 2 of 3 from Tennessee, and Cade Arrambide, I don't know if he went to the casino after the game or what, but that's never happened before, folks. 4 home runs in one game, and Arrambide, they were not cheap. Oh, by the way, the irony as we set this up is that the one time they got him out on Sunday, he went 5 for 6 with also a single, 3 solo homers and a granny. But the one time they got him out, JP, that is the bad call by the umpire that got Jay Johnson tossed. So a lot to recap, and good to see you and Marty as well.
Well, happy Easter to you and everybody out there, Bud, man. Certainly appreciate you being here with us and everybody out there viewing. Catch us on YouTube as well, on youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Of course, we archive all Tigers Roar. Of course, Roman Banks with the Overtime series. Chris Powers, Talking Sports with Chris Powers, all on our YouTube page. While you're at the page, go ahead and click the like, the notification, and subscribe button. We certainly appreciate it, and it will keep you up to date for everything going on here at Pelican. Yeah, it was a great weekend for baseball, Bud, man. The Friday comeback, Derek Curiel hits a grand slam. He's jumping up in the air saying, "This is my house." You have a feeling like, okay, finally LSU has got their swagger back. This is the team that we expected in the preseason. Hitting the ball, scoring runs. Played okay defense in the back half of Friday's game. Of course, Saturday, dropped it to set up a rubber match on Sunday. LSU once again takes an early deficit, works their way back, and then explodes in extra innings. Cade Arrambide, you always knew the power was there, even out of high school. Highly recruited. He could hit home runs left and right. But this was the game everybody kind of expected the second-year guy to come in and show off for Cade Arrambide. Of course, Omar Cerner got banged up in the series. He took a collision near third base. So we had Eddie Yaman play a lot of catcher. And then, Cade Arrambide comes in on Sunday, plays both spots. Obviously, the Southern win with Derek Curiel hits a grand slam against Southern to come back late at night after the long rain delay. You have a good weekend. You're ranked again, back in the top 25. You got Bethune-Cookman out of the SWAC for a midweek game. And unfortunately, the Tigers looked like they were asleep once again to start in the first 3 innings. Sloppy defense, sloppy pitching, couldn't get guys out. Had to use 7 pitchers in the first 6 innings of baseball. So you thought LSU baseball was back, and then they've shown there's still some growing up to do. There's still some maturing to do on that team. Of course, Jay Johnson, the best coach in college baseball. I do think they still have a chance to get right, but they have to keep it going on the weekends. Can't lose too many more SEC series, and then hope to make a push to Omaha. Spring football obviously going on, Bud, man. You and Mike Scarrow been at practice. You've been at the press conferences. We will hear from Coach Lane Kiffin on this program. Have about 7 or 8 minutes of his press conference talking about the guys, how they've progressed, his high-tempo offense, and a whole lot more. You mentioned the Final Four. I didn't give Michigan enough credit. Obviously, that was the best team in college basketball men's this season. It was a block party on defense. Very entertaining if you like low-scoring games. Couldn't believe it. There was like 10 minutes left in the game, and one team still had in the 30s. 39 points, I believe, for UConn. So you got to give credit to Michigan. They were the better team. They got it done. Congrats to the national championship. But now, basketball is completely over. Moving on to the meat of the baseball season and getting ready for football, Bud, man. So a lot to talk about here on Tigers Roar. I know that was a lot, but certainly appreciate all of you tuning in this week.
No doubt about it. We've got a little battle going on with City Park Golf Course. We're going to let you get some information at the end of the show. Breck is trying to do a bait and switch and try to change the golf course up. Most of you are aware that LSU Golf Course is going to be done in less than a month, and the politics of this thing is getting a little crazier by the day. Sasaki, Breck, BRAF will give you all the details on how you can sign a petition to keep City Park Golf Course intact. And as always, we'll talk about that at the end of the show. Let's get right into the highlights. Game 3 of Tennessee. JP, LSU would flourish if they were always at Tennessee. 6 home runs on the Friday night comeback and 7 home runs. Aaron Beatty, here we go, JP. And it was great to see somebody just this hot and this locked in. It had to look like a beach ball. The baseball had to look like a beach ball on Sunday for him.
Yeah, Bud, man, once again, you see the score. It's 5-0 before LSU gets on the board. They had a bunch of solo shots, 7 home runs, I believe, on Sunday. Didn't do a lot of damage until that grand slam. But here's John Pearson also getting on the board to make it 5-2. Another solo shot. Then you see Seth Dardar. These are going to be all home runs, Bud, man. Seth Dardar's next. He'll hit a home run. The pitching let him down a little bit early, but I think the bullpen really solidified on Sunday. There you see another home run right there to make it 5-3 Tennessee. But you mentioned the short porch. Yeah, LSU definitely enjoyed it this weekend. To cap it off with a big home run from Steven Mom. You'll see later on in the highlights. But the solo shot was working for the purple and gold.
Josh Elander, of course, succeeded Tony Vitello. It is not the same Tennessee team. They are now below 500. LSU winning 2 out of 3, 500 in the conference. Traveled to Ole Miss this weekend. And then once again, here's another one, JP.
Yeah, and there's Dardar. He kind of exploded last weekend against Kentucky. Had another good series this weekend. Did see him get a little banged up last night against Bethune-Cookman on an awkward slide. Kind of banged up his ankle a little bit. Also saw Chris Stanfield run into the wall. So this team was already a little bit banged up, still dealing with some lingering injuries, Bud, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. By the way, in this game, 5-4, and I'm not sure if it'll come up if you showed all the highlights, but they scratched across a run in the ninth. Here we go, Jay Johnson getting tossed. JP, he's been tossed 5 times in his LSU career. LSU 2-3 in those games, 2 wins, 3 losses. But I thought Jay was frustrated, and once again, he got his money's worth.
Yeah, the last 2 weekends, you really seen an animated Coach Jay Johnson, one not trying to fight, but having words with the Kentucky head coach across the field. And then this game on Sunday, absolutely the most fiery I've seen Coach Jay Johnson getting into an umpire's face. He didn't like the call. He thought Aaron Beatty had the 2 solo shots before, that was the team's best chance to come back. Unfortunately, didn't work out, but the team certainly galvanized after that. Here you see an error that leads to the tying score. Jake Brown puts it in play, runs hard, and that's all you can do sometimes, and that's enough to get the Tigers into extra innings.
Of course, this is the granny from Cade Aaron Beatty, and the right fielder knew it was gone. I don't know if I've seen a guy locked in. 5 for 6, a single, 3 solos, and a granny, and called out on a bad third call strike.
Yeah, that was actually the 3rd home run of the day, Bud, man. Here's the granny, bases loaded. Cade Aaron Beatty up. You see the score right there, and blast off.
Watch the right fielder. He doesn't even move.
Doesn't even give the pitcher
off the scoreboard.
Doesn't even give the pitcher the courtesy look. Doesn't turn around. It's off the scoreboard, and it sets up a huge 12th inning for the LSU Tigers.
Another record on Sunday afternoon out at Tennessee. LSU 10 runs in the 12th inning. That is the most runs ever scored in one inning in extra innings, and they keep winning these football scores. JP, they beat Kentucky 17-10. Now this is 16-6. Had some other walk-off wins. They've been behind 6-1 to Southern, 7-0 to Kentucky, and then 5-0 in this game. One thing you got to give these Tigers and Jay Johnson, they never give up, always a chance. And was that ball on Jake Brown to get on in the ninth inning and squeeze the tying run? Was that a hit or an error? Because I thought it could have been both. It was a tough play.
Yeah, in my book, that's a hit. You just hit it in the right spot. It's an infield hit. It could have been a fielder's choice, but unfortunately, and look, give credit to Stanfield too. He's running hard to second base, get a good slide, have the exchange a little bit awkward. It was late. Shortstop getting to the bag late, so I count it as a hit, bud. Man, it was a bang play, but. Give the Tigers credit. You mentioned it. They've been down in a lot of games, but they fight their way back. It seems like they really come alive in the 7th and the 8th inning. I heard in the broadcast last night, they score the most runs of the season in the 8th inning, so they never think they're out of a game. This offense can absolutely explode. You saw it in extra innings against Tennessee, so got to solidify the defense, have to throw more strikes and execute pitches, but this team absolutely has the talent to make it a long way in the postseason, but they have to start right now and be more consistent week in and week out.
Now, folks, everybody knows that Jay Johnson wants $2 million by the start of June 1 for the transfer portal. JP, I got to ask you a question. I don't think they've lost this many midweek games ever under the tutelage of Jay Johnson. Does he tweak his schedule a little bit? I know he wants to play, and JP and I were talking about this. JP is a coach just like Jay Johnson. It's 24/7, 365. But my point of it is that when you go on the road and you travel and you come back at 1 o'clock in the morning and you give him that day off that you get back, but he gets out there and practices an hour and a half, and then you go have another 3-4 hour game. Just my humble opinion, I think these guys are running on empty and a little tired. I know they're 18-23, but we'll see. The guys won 2 natties, and all I'll do is talk, so maybe he knows a lot more. But I do think that this team has played sluggish. And, JP, the errors, if they continue to make errors, then Omaha steaks will have to be ordered over the internet, not enjoyed in person.
Yeah, but man, you make a great point. You got to solidify the errors. You have to solidify the pass balls, the wild pitches. You need to throw more strikes. Cannot walk in two runs with the bases loaded with what seems to be one of your better relievers. There are things to improve, and that's. It's a catch-22 with Coach Jay Johnson. He's the best coach in America because he gives so much attention and detail to the details. He wants to work at it 365 days a year. He wants to put, 16-hour days in until he gets it right. It needs to be perfect. And, yeah, you mentioned Sunday was Easter. It was a very long extra innings game. Then you come back from Tennessee. You have a midweek game against Bethune-Cookman, who is not a bad team.
No.
I mean, don't take credit away from Bethune-Cookman. They threw a very good game with that pitching staff. Kept Tigers off balance, out of rhythm, changing up speed, changing up location. They did a good job as a staff, so don't want to take credit away from them. But, yeah, it was a draining weekend, a long game on Sunday. It was a long game Friday. You drop on Saturday. So much emotion went into that extra innings. Kate Arrambide has a historic night, so you're feeling good about yourself. You want to have a little time, personal time on Easter to reflect upon whatever that is. You want a little personal time. Then you get right back into it. A team that comes in on Tuesday knowing they're facing the defending national champions who wants to prove that they're a good baseball team too. Look, there are no days off when you're defending champs. There's always a target on your back. And baseball is a hard enough sport as it is. To have the other team locked in every pitch is very difficult on any staff, much less a team that's just coming off a brutal weekend series in Tennessee. So there is a lot to improve upon. And you can rest assured Jay Johnson has spent a lot of time thinking and preparing on how each individual kid can get better. That's what he's focused on. And this team does have the talent. They do have the studs. But like we said, they have to start doing it on a more consistent basis, game in and game out.
All right, folks. Big Papa was sat down at first base last night. Mason Braun had to start, did some things over at first base. And once again, LSU plays at Ole Miss this weekend. You'd love to go over there and steal 2 out of 3, but we'll see. Oh, by the way, we're taping right now shortly after 11 o'clock. If you're looking for lunch, folks, always our great sponsor this spring and football season, Goodwood Grill on Goodwood Boulevard, corner of Terra Boulevard and Goodwood Boulevard. Good food, good friends, good times, always incredibly consistent, good food at Goodwood Grill. Call them today, 927-7550, or go by and see them. Goodwood Grill, always a thrill at Goodwood Grill. And tell them Buddy sent you over. Quick time out. We come back with more, talking some spring football and other topics on a gorgeous Wednesday afternoon. A little windy today right here. Oh, by the way, get your taxes ready. We're 1 week away from having to pay Uncle Sam. So if you're going to get the extension, you're feeling good. But if you get your stuff together, 1 week away from paying Uncle Sam. And, of course, we all know that that is something that we have to do whether we want to or not. Quick time out, back with Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV with Buddy Sanji, Jonathan Poche, Marty Campbell, and all of us over here at Pelican. Hope you're doing well. Back right after this.
Embrace the luxury, safety, and comfort of a new Mazda at Team Mazda. Right now, get 1.9% financing for 60 months on a new Mazda CX-5 or a new Mazda CX-50. Find spring savings on your new Mazda here at Team Mazda on Airline.
When I started this practice over 35 years ago, I had one goal: to treat every patient like family. And over the years, I've watched kids grow up in this office, come back as parents, and now I'm seeing their kids in the same chair. That kind of trust, it's not something we take for granted. This isn't just where we do dentistry, it's where we make people feel at home. Frugier Family Dentistry, where you treat it like family. Call or visit FrugierFamilyDentistry.com to schedule.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
And we welcome you back on this gorgeous April the 8th. As always, Buddy Sanji in the house. Let's talk a little spring football. JP, I've been out there to almost every practice. I think we've had availability for 7. Sam Levitt was shut down, got these screws and pins taken out of his foot. So he's on crutches right now, but they expect him to make a full recovery. Now, when he will be available for contact and doing all the things you have to do before game is probably going to be late summer. That being said, JP, from the highlights and the interviews and all of the talk, what have you taken most from LSU spring football with Lane Kiffin? We got to love this access. There were early rumors that we did not have the access that we had, but we're quite happy with what Coach Kiffin has given the media so far.
Yeah, I think this team right now would really hang their hat on defense, but, man, a lot of playmakers on that side, a lot of new guys. Of course, the offense is completely new, but at least the defense had the same coaching structure. Blake Baker doesn't have to just coach the linebackers this season. He's really spreading out his knowledge across the whole team. I think that's one thing that we've noticed in these spring practices. Defensive line, they're going to have some studs, including some young guys. Lamar Brown, Richard Anderson will play roles early in their careers as freshmen for LSU. Going to need to run the football. Harlan Barry is poised to have a big year, I think, under Coach Lane Kiffin's tempo and utilization of the running back, catching the ball out of the backfield. Obviously has been a big focal point in this spring session. And yeah, just the tempo and conditioning of this team. Will they be physical? Will they have enough endurance to last the full 4 quarters when you're running this much tempo? It really puts a lot of stress on the opposing defense, but also puts stress on that offensive line. And I think that's going to be a question mark. Can these guys gel? You pick up the big tackle in Jordan Seaton. His body has transformed since he's been on campus. He's put in a lot of extra work. So everybody seems to be saying the right things about Lane Kiffin, not only the coach, but the human being. They seem to relate to how he talks, to how he presents himself, and the energy he brings to the team. So right now it's a lot of positives, Bud, man, but I haven't really been able to see him, strap it up and really get after each other. We did see some fights early in practice, but Lane Kiffin kind of put a kibosh on that. So keeping the physicality and the competition with eliminating the fighting, learning how to practice in this Kiffin regime is something they had to instill in these players really early. Buying into the system, I think everybody's excited about the offensive-minded coach, but I think right now, if you had to hang a hat on something, you played a game right now, it had to be that defense flying around making plays.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The defense is definitely ahead of the offense. I'm going to give you some brutal stats, folks, about LSU's run game and offense last year. JP, it was embarrassing. LSU averaged 3.6 yards per carry, had 10 rushing touchdowns, and averaged 104 yards a game rushing. Oh, by the way, Ole Miss averaged 4.1 a carry and had 24 touchdowns just with Kayvon Lacey, and obviously 176 yards. JP, I know it's essential to Lane Kiffin. He talked about it at the presser yesterday, but what do you think they've got to do to have some semblance of a complimentary run game this football season?
Yeah, I don't think you just line up and smash it between the tackles, but man, you don't really have the bell cow workhorse, big mauling running back to do that. Your personnel type really lends itself to catching the ball at the backfield, having short tosses, getting to the outside. Look, this offensive line is going to be much more athletic than last year. That means pulling guards will get out to the outside much more efficiently, get those blocks on the outside, linebacker, corner, whatever it is, and spring these long runs. The wide receivers want to have a run game too. They understand they have to block downfield. That's something Coach Lane Kiffin has always taught his teams. If you look at long runs in college football, it's because wide receivers are working after the play down the field making blocks. It's a commitment to the run game between all 11. You have to work as a team up front. Obviously, the offensive line has a huge part to deal with it. It's not just about moving bodies. You have to be on time, moving in sync, the pieces flowing where they should, and just doing your job, blocking your assignment, be committed to it. You have to be committed to it. You can't get down by 2 scores. Now we're just throwing the ball around. You have to stay committed to the run game. And look, Caden Durham, Harlan Berry, both these guys had opportunities to leave for other programs, get different NIL deals. Both of them chose to come back. LSU valued them, and they valued their opportunity here at LSU. So a commitment to physicality with a more athletic offensive line, I think, will lend itself to a more productive run game. But you have to work the running backs out the backfield, get them some screen passes, get them some swing passes, get them some dumps and dinks over the middle, maybe that middle screen, get some other things working, not just line it up and try to bash it down somebody's throat up the middle. That doesn't always work. It didn't work for LSU last year. We saw it in the red zone. They couldn't put the ball in the end zone inside the 5-yard line. So get creative, get those athletic guys in space on the outside. I think that's how you work a consistent run game.
You're going to have basically a new offensive line. Braylon Moore is coming back at center. Weston Davis still starting at right tackle, but Seaton at left tackle. Of course, Harper and others in the mix for the left guard spot. Alou Ball at right guard from Maryland is a real road grader. They're going to be more physical, as you alluded to. Caden Durham, 29, Harlan Berry, 22. Couple of new names to look forward to this year, folks. Number 13, he's not superstitious at all. Dylan Jones, a big physical 215-pound inside the tackles runner from Wisconsin. And, of course, Stacy Gage, a guy who puts his foot in the ground and makes people miss, got an extra gear. He is number 23. Jones is 13, Berry 22, and Durham 29. But suffice to say, one of the things we've got to add into this conversation, the play calling is going to be appreciably better. And I saw a tweet today talking about the prices for LSU Ole Miss, and if you're going to go to that game, you better find somebody real quick to get you a hotel and some tickets, because that's going to be a scalper's market in week 3, JP.
Yeah, but, man, one of the most hostile environments you're ever going to want to come across. Everybody in the nation knows the deal. The Lane Kiffin story was public across the country. The hatred, the vile language, the spewing of curse words and every name under the book. and then Lane Kiffin to go spend, upwards of $40 million on a roster at LSU, get everybody he wants, cherry pick the portal, and really live into that villain role. It's going to be a showdown, Bud, man. Both teams are going to be very physical from the jump, and everybody has a plan to get punched in the mouth, right? How are you going to execute in that fourth quarter after you've been in a bloodbath of a brutal fist fight for the first three? That's going to be the question. I know there's been a lot of talk about the conditioning so far in the spring. Will these guys be able to maintain good health, avoid the soft tissue injuries, avoid the concussions, and keep their studs healthy towards the end of that season? That's going to be that Ole Miss game is going to tell a lot about this season, in my opinion. Early enough in the year where it's going to matter. And look, there's no love lost between the fan bases, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's roll those highlights for a little bit of spring football to let you see what the Tigers look like out on tape. And here we go, right out of the gate, folks. As you see, I'm trying to see who that was, JP, running. But look, they're going to go fast. And I think the big thing, JP, just like Jaden Daniels had problems his first year, these quarterbacks have got to go through their progression of reads and throw it quickly. Here we see right here Clark with a nice pass out to the flat to
88.
88. That is Elzy, the big wide receiver from Illinois.
I know you've done your research on the new roster, Bud, man. Yeah, number 11, the quarterback.
Landon Clark.
Landon Clark from Elon, a guy that comes in. Great athletic mobility. Both these guys, Husan Longstreet and Landon Clark, can both move out of the pocket, make throws on the run. That's something LSU is going to look for Sam Levitt as well. But these reps in spring training are so invaluable for these backup guys, where if they ever do have to come in an emergency role, they're absolutely ready. Obviously, the quarterback for Ole Miss last year wasn't even on the team till the summer, so Lane Kiffin doesn't have a problem developing guys in a hurry. Here you see Coach Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator, working with some DBs, working with some linebackers. Here's a good drill to really get your shoulder pads and your hips square to the cut, and look for LSU to be a better tackling defense this year than they were last season.
13, you saw the DB Fahim Delane. That's the brother of Monsieur Delane. There you see Spears, who along with C.J. Jimcoli and Aiden Hall are going to play the star position, taking over for Harold Perkins. Number 1, by the way, is Prince, and here's number 2. That's Ty Benefield, and they expect great things from him. JP.
Now, Bud, man, I have to say, on this defense, Ty Benefield is one of the guys that I am most excited to see on the field. Obviously, he's a thumper, but to hear him talk to the press the other day, how well-spoken and intelligent that young man is.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Can't wait to see him on the field flying around.
All right, you see 94 and 99. There's 99, Deuce Gerald. You saw big 94, Richard Anderson. And then you bring in Lamar Brown and then Trenton Henderson from the edge. JP, it's not often, but you could have 3 or 4 LSU Tigers that play as true freshmen on the defensive line, whether it be inside or on the edge.
Yeah, a lot of young studs, Bud, man. You love to see these guys you're bringing out of high school make immediate impacts. Now we move to the running backs, getting some good cuts. They talked about how they've been coached hard by Coach Smith, a guy that played the position in college, very knowledgeable on the little ins and outs and the details of what makes running back a good running back. So they get coached really intense, Bud, man. You see it paying off in practice.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You saw 23, Stacey Gage, and as we said, you'll see 13 as well as 22, 29 in the background. They're waiting their reps. And so, look, LSU is going to have plenty of depth at running back. JP, right now we've identified Berry and Durham, obviously, and then you get into Dylan Jones and Stacey Gage, and so probably going to play 3 or 4 running backs. We'll ask you the question because it's something that LSU's had a bunch in the last few years. Running back by committee. Are you a fan of it, and do you expect it again this year?
Well, I do expect a little bit of that this year, and I am a fan of running back by committee. That means you have enough guys that you trust with the football to efficiently move the ball down the field. And look, there's going to be different skill sets for each guy. Somebody might be better at catching the ball at the backfield. Some might be better at pass pro. You want a balanced running back, Bud, man, but you want to be good at or be great at what you're good at, is what Coach Jay Johnson says. And I think running back by committee, not only are you able to keep guys fresh. In this high-tempo offense, you run a lot of plays every game. You keep guys fresh. You let guys give it their all. They're all competing for their time. You only have one football. We'll hear Harlan Berry talk about that a little later on in this program. Coach Lane Kiffin, preaches there's only one football. Everybody's working, but not everybody carries the ball. So the competition that's created in the backfield room, as well as keeping guys fresh for all these plays that you want to run in a fast-paced offense. I'm a fan of running back committee. Now, we're not talking about an Adrian Peterson being in the backfield room. Like, we don't have that guy who's going to be the number 1, number 2 overall draft pick in the upcoming draft. So, yeah, you spread it around. You keep guys fresh. You let guys run hard. If somebody's dealing with a little injury bug, you let them take a breather. Having more guys that you trust to run the football is never a bad thing.
All right, they averaged 104 a game last year running the football. Give me a number. Can they get to 150, 160 a game this year running the football?
That's going to be really tough in the SEC, but, man, 160. I'd be happy with, like, 125 consistently. That means you're really committed to the run game. You're staying in front of the chains. You're not having third and longs a lot. You're doing well on first and second down. And the running game has a lot to do with that. You want to be able to say, when we need 3 yards, we can get 3 yards. And I think there will be more of commitment. There will be more athletic offensive line. Harlan Berry in year 2, he'll be more comfortable in the system with the speed of the game. So, yeah, I do think they can be north of 104, but 160 is going to be tough in the SEC.
JP, always a little more positive with LSU men's baseball, and I'm always a little bit more positive with LSU football. It is going to be an incredible start to the football calendar. You got Lane Kiffin directing your team from August all the way into January, assuming that they make the playoffs and win 10 games. And then, of course, Will Wade will start up in late November, early December. We know he's going to bring LSU basketball back, whether they not get it into the tournament or not this year. I'm expecting them to get in there. Kel Mulkey losing Bella Hines and Kaylin Gilbert to the portal, but she'll have great replacements coming in. Everybody knows the portal opened up yesterday, so expect to have some signees and commitments in the coming days. And then, of course, as we know, Jay Johnson. Do you think he gets to $2 million by June 1? I would say anybody out at LSU – and, yes, he probably used the media to send a statement to the administration. But if there's anybody you got to take care of out there right now, it's Jay Johnson, because he needs money in that portal. And they're losing just about everybody on this team.
Yep.
I'm talking about position players, except the 2 catchers.
Yeah. If you're asking my opinion, do I think that he'll get that $2 million? I would certainly hope so, but, man, so I'll go ahead and say yes. Like you said, if there's one coach on campus that you have to keep happy, it's the one that has won 2 national championships in 3 years, and Coach Jay Johnson. Not only does he retain players, he works a portal. Look, baseball, there are so many different programs and teams and AAU teams and travel ball teams. This guy does it every day of the week. He's always recruiting, always with the relationships with players and coaches. Look, he does it all. His attention to detail. Give him the money. If you ask a straw poll of 2 million LSU fans across the country, would you be willing to give $10? Yeah, I guarantee they'd say yes. Keep watching LSU be elite. So whether it comes from private donations, or donors, or a big online group that gets together and just comes up with a bunch of money, someone has to take care of Jay Johnson. He's proven he can do it on the field. You want to lock him in, and I think he did drop a little nuggets to where, like, hey, I haven't been offered the MLB job yet. He sees what Tony Vitale is doing. He's a better coach than Tony Vitale. So, yeah, keep Jay Johnson happy. Keep him in Baton Rouge for as long as he will choose to be the coach here for the Tigers.
All right, let's give you some Lane Kiffin. Here is the press conference from yesterday, a variety of questions and answers. A lot more detailed and deep with some of these answers that you would expect. Lane Kiffin, once again, letting you get to know him out at LSU football.
Anyway, Richard Anderson, phenomenal prospect. This guy's going to be a great player. It's just a matter of time to when that happens. And love how physical he is. Love how hard he's worked early. Again, these guys really are seniors in high school. We just, over time, have changed their enrollment, for so many guys to come early. So he's doing a great job. Got a little banged up and played through it Saturday, which was good. So we're really excited about him. Very well coached.
Yeah, Coach, just a two-parter on Sam Levitt, if I could. Just wasn't out there today. It looked like he had some kind of small procedure done on getting the pins out, I guess, of his leg. Just maybe when you guys might expect him to get back on the field, and then just, I guess, the experience that he has as a 2-year starter now coming in, and just what kind of benefit does his experience and his performance, having played in a playoff game, been? What does that do for you guys within that room?
Yeah, none of these are a surprise. This is the timeline we expected, and had the screw removed yesterday, and everything went well. It was something that going into it we were going to know that, it was going to be unfortunate. He was going to miss spring, a lot of it, but that was going to allow the other guys opportunities, and just kind of looked at things. I just feel nowadays, it's a little easier to play quarterback than it used to be years ago as far as how long you've been there. If you look around the country, people transfer and go play at new places, and look at the previous place we were at. The guy didn't get there till the summer. Kind of that went into the decision where I feel like years ago you've been really concerned that the quarterback's going to miss your spring. He's done a great job mentally in the meetings and walkthroughs and able to throw some individual before this procedure.
Coach, you've had great success, Lane, running the football the last 5 years. Can you talk about the job you have with your O-line, your running backs? LSU last year, 10 rushing touchdowns, 104 yards a game rushing. Can you talk about the job to establish that complementary run game that you've had the last 5 years?
Yeah, that's a really high on our list. Very big challenge to get that fixed. And that takes a lot of things. It's a system thing, it's a personnel thing, and so, getting here and going to work on that. And I just don't think if you can't, in my opinion, you can't run the ball, you got problems, not just offensively, but as a team. It's just part of your personality. And so we've always really stressed that. Over time, we've run the ball as well as anybody over the years, the last 2 places we've been. So, and it's looked different with different types of running backs. So that's a really big challenge for us right now, like you alluded to, major issue last year and really for a few years here. And so that's high on our list because it sets up everything. Everybody knows that sets up throwing the ball and play action, but to me it sets your whole team up.
Coach, 2 questions. One, with Gabe Relaford out, who does that not open the door for, but give an opportunity to with some extra snaps they might not have been getting in spring?
Yeah, I think guys have done a good job. We've moved people around a little bit, and today in our third down package with different rushers and things, and Lamar will be here, which will help too at that spot. And so we'll just look at different options.
And then with the portal, you said 40-plus guys. Are there guys that you've seen through a few weeks that you or the staff are like, hey, these guys are maybe a little bit better than we even had on our eval of them through film?
Well, a lot of that's offensively. Really almost, just think about it after the scrimmage Saturday, almost the whole offense, I should know the percentage, but I don't, is new at so many spots. And obviously quarterback and receiver, almost everybody. So there's a lot of guys in there doing well. And we're looking at it as like just every day, how can we get better with guys and move them around? We moved some receivers today, actually, that were playing inside and outside and moved them to look at different things. So we're like an expansion team that way. We're looking at everything and because we really don't have a background with hardly any of these players. So just utilizing the time to look at a lot of different things.
Just a couple of house cleaning things. You announced the coaching clinic with Marshall Falk today. I guess just how much do you have your coaches teach at the clinic, and then what's it like? Do you have a relationship with Marshall?
Our coaches will be there. They'll have breakout sessions. I'll speak. Coordinators will speak. General manager will speak. This is critical to me. Being out and around. There's great football in Louisiana. Obviously, great players. But I've said before, I love the way that the people in Louisiana are, but then when you get to football, the way that the coaches are and how much passion that they have and the players. So I've really challenged our guys to have a phenomenal clinic, spend time extra with all the coaches and breakout sessions of position groups so that we can help make the state better. I really didn't know Marshall. I don't know what that would be like 1999. I was at the game when they beat the Bucs to go to the Super Bowl in St. Louis. My dad was the coordinator at the Bucs. So I was there at the game. I don't remember, it was 13-9 or something like that. And greatest show on turf. And so I knew him as a player, obviously, and then I met him when we were speaking somewhere the other week. So I'm excited for him to have this opportunity, and some of his staff was here today, and just trying to help them any way we can.
And then I noticed Jamarcus was at practice today. I guess is that a conscious effort for you to get some of the older players back in the building, and how has that been progressing?
Yeah, our building's open to former players and talked to a number of them. Some have come around. I've reached out to others to make sure that they understood that. This is the place they put together and built. So it was really neat to see Jamarcus. I'd missed him. He was here one time when I first got here, but I missed him, when he was up here visiting. So it's great to see him. It continues to amaze me at life that you think you have your life figured out when you're younger and you have no idea what's going to happen. And I was just thinking when I saw him today, and then I sent T. Martin over to him today, and I'm like, who would have thought, I don't even know, what it's probably about 18 years ago or something like that, when he's the number one pick at the Raiders and I'm the head coach, that years later, it's actually the only time I've ever been in this building, was for his pro day. And 18 years later, I'd be here and T. Martin be here and Jamarcus would be walking up. So you never know what's going to happen, but it was great to see him.
One quick follow-up about Richard. Based on, I know you talked about him being such a great prospect. Based on, what you've seen in the spring and his size and physicality, do you view him as a guy that could potentially make an impact for this defensive line this year right away?
Yeah, I do. We're not very deep defensive line. That's why it was really important to bring in portal guys, but then also, sign the high school guys that we did. And so there's very high expectations for him and the others.
You are going to love Richard Anderson. He's big number 94. JP and I talked about him. JP saw him in high school. He came over here as 360 now. He's dropped about 20 pounds and are in the 339 range, maybe even more. So he looks good. Deuce Gerald's 99's a true freshman. Once again, Prince coming in from the edge. TJ Daugherty at linebacker. And obviously, DJ Pickett and P.J. Woodland, your corners. The defense looks very good right now, but certainly you can't ever have enough. Lamar Brown, the phenom from U-High, coming in and will be also in the edge, which will help replace the loss of Gabe Relaford for the season. Quick time out. We come back with more on a very busy Wednesday afternoon right here. Buddy Sanjay, Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV. Back right after this.
Tremonti's has meat, Tremonti's has seafood, Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters, huge wine and liquor selection, beer and all the spices you need, Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats, ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs, 20 flavors of sausage for the grill, daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements, and that's where Lee Serio can help. His prepaid funeral plans make sure your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. With Lee Serio, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee or his wife Gretchen at 225-315-6329. Let Lee Serio give you and your family the peace of mind you all deserve.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Ready for a new truck? Then now's the time to get set and go to Team Toyota. Drive a new 25 Tacoma for just $299 a month, or get 2.99% for 72 months on a new 26 Tundra. It's time to save on your new Toyota and join the team at Team Toyota.
Treads and Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads and Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads and Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads and Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And we welcome you back. As always, don't forget about joining our team, Team Honda, Team Toyota, and Team Mazda. New or used car, truck, outright purchase, or leasing will always take care of you at all of our team automotive dealerships. We're going to let you hear from Harlan Berry. We'll give you a little bit of an overview before we get into that. Cade Arrambide named the Buster Posey Catcher and Player of the Week. Look, they've had trouble defending all those curveballs in the dark. In the dirt, and sometimes I put the sunglasses on watching the catchers and their defensive play. But Eddie Yaman's come in and done a little bit. Mason Braun had to go play first base because Big Papa's been struggling. JP, what can this team do to go to get 2 out of 3 at Ole Miss? It starts off with pitching, but also that defense and then the timely hitting. Are they going to continue on this home run binge, or was that just a perk playing in a little bitty ballpark at Lindsey Nelson Stadium in Knoxville?
Well, I think the ballpark obviously has something to do with it, but, man, it is a short porch in all directions. But LSU, I thought, did start hitting the ball better against Kentucky. They do pick up that series, and they move on to Tennessee. They put up a whole bunch of runs in a couple games. They have the studs to absolutely hit the long ball, Bud, man, but you can't rely on that solo shot. The solo shot is tough to win games. You got to put a bunch of them together. LSU was able to do so on Sunday. So they did stretch it right at the end of extra innings. Finally, Tennessee ran out of pitching, and LSU really put them on them late. But what do they have to do? They have to be more consistent, and it starts with pitching, Bud, man. If Kason Evans comes out, and we see the Kason Evans that we saw a couple weeks ago with 15 strikeouts, LSU's going to be unbeatable. Now, if he gets pulled in the 4th inning, you go to your bullpen really early in the series, it's going to work out to be tough for LSU. They got to play better in the infield. They got to absolutely. Step one for me would be to stop these pass balls. Whatever it has to be, the catchers come in early, stay late, work on their technique, work on smothering baseballs. You cannot have all these free bases that come back to bite you. You can't give up third base and have a weak ground ball to the right side, score a run. That's not helping you in the long run. That's something you can clean up quick, fast, and in a hurry. LSU has to do that. The bats, I believe, will come around. Zach York, I really had a lot of faith he was going to hit a lot of home runs for LSU. We saw him struggle at the plate. Then we saw him struggle in the field. Sometimes in baseball, you get between your own ears. It's a mental game. You got to find confidence. Of course, confidence breeds success. Success breeds confidence. But it's like the chicken and the egg. Which comes first? You got to fake it till you make it, start getting good contact, hitting balls hard, and then the defense will work itself out. You've played first base your entire life. I think Zach York, if he just resets a little bit, can be very valuable to this team. They're getting a lot of young guys some playing time now. You mentioned Braun going to first base. Claus has also had some time. Maybe Cerna goes over to first base. Arrambide obviously had the 4 home runs. He's hot. So you keep his bat in the lineup, whether it be DH or you find Eddie Yaman at catcher. What do they have to do, Bud, man? Just clean up some of the things they've been doing. They have the talent, but you need to start doing it right now. You saw it last night. You can't wait till the 7th inning to turn it on. Good teams will put you away. Can't let them hang around. And look, it starts with pitching and it ends with pitching. LSU, between Evans, Smitty, and whoever else is going to be their third guy they're going to rely on for the rest of the season, they got to have good starting pitching, and they got to have good bullpen, and that's where it starts.
A lot of parity with the SEC baseball this year. Of course, Georgia now at 10-2 went over to Mississippi State and Starkville and swept the Bulldogs. They lead the league at 10-2. Texas at 9-3, and then a bunch of other teams 8-4, and of course 7-5. LSU with a 4 spot. 4 teams that also at 6-6. If you win 2 out of 3, then you've got A&M back at the box the following weekend. LSU gymnastics ladies doing great things. They have advanced to the Elite 8 in Dallas. They've got a session on April the 16th, so that will take place a week from next Wednesday. So next Thursday on April 16th, Lady Tigers are in a regional with 4 And, of course, if they are the top two there, they will go to the Final Four. All of that happening in Dallas. Softball took 2 of 3 against Missouri. They've got Arizona this weekend. And Will Wade and Kim Mulkey working very hard behind the scenes to replace all of the departures. Will Wade bringing in basically a new team. Kim Mulkey supplementing her team. As we said, we'll see what they do in the portal. Any other wrap-up news before we let you hear from Harlan Berry, JP?
I think you hit it, bud, man.
All right, here's Harlan Berry, number 22. Probably going to work to get to about 190. He's 187 right now. Look for him to catch the swing ball, swing pass out the backfield. They're going to utilize his speed in space. Durham and others. Here's Harlan Berry talking about what it's been like under the new staff, and including Kevin Smith, the great running back coach that came over from Ole Miss. Here's Harlan Berry.
Oh, yeah, Coach Smith, definitely a different type of coaching style. You know, he played the position. So, you know, him just coaching us, giving us these little nuggets on different types of cuts, the way to move the ball. It's great coaching, and the drills we be doing is really intense.
Hey, Harlan, how are you feeling physically, what you worked on from the end of last season and now? Size, strength, speed, what did you work on?
Definitely trying to get that size up, at least maintaining it within this offense, because, you know, this is a real fast offense. So definitely trying to get the size up, and most importantly, my stamina, being able to, you know, go with the tempo and all that. So just being able to do that was a big thing.
Hey, Harlan, what did you take away from your first year? The highs, I know you want to maybe work on your ball security a little bit, things like that. What did you take away from being a freshman here and playing so much?
What I took away from that was just getting on the field, being used to coming from St. Martin's to LSU, just how fast the game is, how fast everybody is. You know, even the D linemen are pretty fast. They get after you. So just being able to learn from that, how fast the game moves, the different types of plays, the physicality. That's one thing I took away from that.
Harlan, it seemed like the new coaching staff, when they all got here and was on board, it seemed like you were a priority for them in terms of bringing a player back that was on last year's team. How did that make you feel that they sort of prioritized making sure that you were going to be in the backfield this coming year and not allowing you potentially to walk out of the door?
It was a great feeling, especially, you know, wanting to come back here. I wanted to come back here, so just knowing that they wanted me back here was a great feeling. But I'm just still here ready to work. You know, nothing's earned, so we just out here working right now.
Lane Kiffin is known for putting up a lot of points, and I think it kind of not everybody realizes how heavy they rely on the run. Did you get kind of excited knowing that your head coach is so offensive-minded?
Yeah, that was definitely very exciting, especially when we played him. Seeing, like, learning from that, knowing that he came here and just watching that game and how everything went, that was definitely an exciting thing.
Yeah, Harlan, I guess just the conversations you had with Coach Kiffin and Coach Smith about how they could utilize your skill set in this offense, just what were some of the things that maybe they told you that, you know, you could really benefit from in this scheme going, you know, into 2026?
You know, just getting an open field, catching a ball at the backfield, getting in space, things like that.
Yeah, just kind of let's talk about that a little bit, because with this offense, the way they move, the way they roll out the quarterback, you know, the running backs in space, running backs catching the ball, and just in Lane's penchant for kind of elevating running backs that he's had in the past. You know, like he's really gotten the most out of those guys. I guess just how excited are you? Are you seeing a lot of those elements already, even at practice?
Yeah, this is definitely a different type of offensive scheme. You know, a lot of different things I'm seeing, and just being able to get us out the backfield more in routes and, you know, in space is something we've seen a lot, and I'm loving it.
Harlan, how did you improve the most, you know, from the start of your freshman year to the end of the season in December, and maybe what are some things you're working on now in the spring ahead of your sophomore year?
One thing I would say I improved the most was just knowing the game of football better. You know, coming from high school to college, being that freshman, I think coming in spring last year was definitely a big advantage for me. So just being able to know more to football than just, you know, how high school was. So that was one thing I learned.
Harlan, do you think a lot of running backs will play? It seems like this offense is go, 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 and a lot of guys can touch it and be productive. Is that what you're sensing? Or?
You know, Coach always says it's one ball. You know, we all working. You know, so there's a lot of go, go, go. So, you know, we all in the rotation. We all trying to work to get that spot.
Yeah, just I guess talk about your relationship with Caden a little bit. Do you feel like there's maybe a little bit more untapped potential, I guess, in y'all's 1-2 punch that y'all can maybe show this year, and just kind of how has he maybe helped you, I guess, in your early stages of your career?
Yeah, CD, that's my brother for real. So it's like, you know, when I first came in here, I sat next to CD in the room. You know, took notes from him, learned from him, just being able to, you know, because he came in before me, so just being able to learn from what he was learning. When he first came in as a freshman and up until now. So we just trying to work together.
All right, so there's Harlem Berry wrapping it up with his opportunity to meet with the media. JP, you and I have been talking about it. Harlem Berry getting bigger, stronger. He's now acclimated to the size and the speed of college athletics. You got to be excited for all the running backs and offensive players. Oh, by the way, we can't stress enough, Trey'Dez Green is going to have a monster year. Can you imagine what he's going to look like in the LSU offense? JP, I think that they might need a few EMS, more personnel there this football season in Tiger Stadium, because there will be some heart palpitations fluttering when they see this no-huddle offense, this quick pace, getting rid of it quickly, and scoring a lot of points, and especially, JP, going for it a lot on fourth downs.
Yeah, Bud, man, this offense-oriented coach is going to bring a lot of high-tempo, high-octane offense, and that's really what these LSU fans have been wanting to see since Jaden Daniels left. And the offense was so great, watching Heisman Trophy winner run up and down the field, scoring a lot of points. Defense wasn't that great, so the team didn't make the playoffs, but now you got a coach that has both sides of the ball. Blake Baker and Lane Kiffin, both people that LSU fans, admire and hope they do well here in Baton Rouge. And certainly excited to see a high tempo, high pace, lots of offensive production. See these playmakers really get after it. You're going to spread it around, and you're going to have an offensive minded coach that wants to score a lot of points, Bud, man. So looking forward to it.
All right, folks, we wrap up the last couple of weeks. You know, most of you have known I've been a golfer all my life. We've got the Masters hat on this week. Of course, the Masters in Augusta, GA, starting tomorrow, the first major of the year. But City Park, we are making sure that everybody out there knows that. There you see it. Keep City Park Golf Course intact. Tell the commissioners, and you can email them, but tell them to keep City Park alone. Right now, Breck's got a little bait and switch. They're saying that they're going to keep it intact, but they're going to change the golf course. They're going to minimize the yardage. They're going to cut it down, kind of like a par 3, and a lot of the holes, especially on the highway, are going to be changed a little bit. And so we tell you that. And not only that, we've got a petition that you actually can sign. You can go and, JP, tell them how you can sign the petition by going to that.
This is actually from SaveCityParkGolf.com. You can scan that code right there on your screen. It will take you directly to the website that will allow you to sign the petition to help save City Park Golf, Bud, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. On the National Registry of Baton Rouge, once again, celebrating 100 years in a couple of years. And, folks, it's affordable. You can walk, junior golf, all the things that you want. Oh, by the way, with the loss of LSU closing down, that's where the new arena is going to be for basketball and all the entertainment stuff they're going to bring to the city. But all the Friends of City Park want to do is make sure that if you care about City Park, if you want to keep a treasure here in the city of Baton Rouge, if you want to continue to grow junior golf and do it the right way with class, integrity, there's no reason they should be messing with City Park. 28,000 rounds last year at City Park. If they have these changes that they want to implement, 75% of the golf rounds at City Park will go by the wayside. That comes from Mike Raby, the director of golf over at City Park. All we're asking is that you sign the petition, fill out the survey. Let's keep City Park Golf Course alive and intact. And for that, we thank you. Have a great week, and we'll see you in a couple weeks right here for another edition of Tigers Roar.